All right, and here we are back once again for the most fantastic podcast ever. A totally unique podcast by three bearded fat white guys, two Gargoyles comics, episode 2, now with 72% less gratuitous nudity, ladies and gentlemen. That title, of course, courtesy of Kyle Burles, and drawing apparently a female crotch at the moment is Mike Rieger. Say
When
hi,
am I
guys.
never? Hi, guys. It's not just the crotch. I was just zoomed in right then.
You just at this
Conveniently,
particular moment.
It was
Yes.
a complete happenstance.
Well, we decided we'd try something new here at the Two Gargs podcast. That's themes. Oh my God, we have a theme. And we agreed that today's theme would be Saturday morning cartoons. In this episode, we talk about growing up on cartoons and how they affected us. And make sure if you're listening to this that you comment your favorite as well. So I guess we'll begin. Saturday morning cartoons, of course, for our younger listeners, are not a thing anymore. It used to be that you got cartoons one day a week, and it was Saturday morning until about 12 or 1 in the afternoon, and then Hinterland Who's Who would come on, or some other educational thing, and that's when you knew it was time to go outside. But now you guys have a whole channel of cartoons, and of course with Netflix and everything else, there's content all over the place. So we kind of lost the sanctity of Saturday morning cartoons. They were like very, very special. They were something you looked forward to. Now, maybe not so much. Let's hear some opinions on how the cartoon landscape has changed in your minds, Kyle and Mike.
I still watch Saturday morning cartoons. I make a point of it. This morning I watched the 2 most recent episodes of Clone Wars.
Nice.
Oh, I saved them up. I don't care.
I keep meaning to get back to that. I haven't seen anything of the new season.
Oh, it's good.
That's good. So, like, I like to call it having church. Except church for me is Saturday morning, and it's anything so long as it's cartoons. It could be something new, it could be something old, but the point is keeping Saturday morning sacred, kids.
Yes,
like, because that's how it should be. It feels wrong to not do cartoons on Saturday morning.
I agree. What have you been watching, Michael?
Lately, actually, I have been catching up on the 1983 classic Dungeons and Dragons, because I just got the DVD. It was one of my favorite cartoons in the 80s, because back then, of course, Dungeons and Dragons was not something that was discussed. It was not something talked about.
It was talked about.
Oh, well, yeah, but negatively, with a satanic corruption, satanic panic kind of feel. But then, Gary Gygax himself actually helped, create this cartoon. And it used licensed, Dungeons & Dragons references. So as a D&D geek, I was like, I never thought I would see something this true to the source material on TV, even though I had to put up with an annoyingly bleaty unicorn.
Does it hold up?
It does. I showed it to my kids, and they also did not like the sidekick unicorn. But I said, this is the 80s. You got to have an annoying sidekick in every freaking show. But they did enjoy that it was actually D&D referential. They even nerded out a little bit. They're like, oh, Tiamat in the first episode, please, as if they could go up against Tiamat. And I was like, this is good, my children. Very good.
You're nerds.
That's right. Let the hate flow through you.
We seem to have lost Kyle.
Yeah, he was.
Where
He
is
just
he gone?
texted me. He's frozen. His internet has been spotty today, so hopefully he will be able to log back in. Cryohazard will be back after these messages. That's Kyle bringing it even when he's not there. So, Mike, you have an interesting history with cartoons. Why don't you tell us what your favorite ones were?
Never watched him as a kid. Never did, but I sure came to cartoons late. I think the ones that first started really, really inspiring my work were Batman the Animated Series.
Oh,
and shockingly, Gargoyles. amazingly.
I guess we should actually spend a moment talking about gargoyles. I mean, Two Gargoyles comics, the Two Gargoyles podcast. I mean, when Mike and I started doing comics together and trying to figure out what we should call ourselves, it was basically just, what if two gargoyles made a comic? And of course, we were fans of the show. So that's exactly where we got the name from. We imagined ourselves as two gargoyles that were secretly making comics. And that actually turned into a comic. Two gargoyles that are secretly private eyes, like detectives. And that's, of course, Twilight Detective Agency. But yeah, that's where Two Gargs comes from, you guys. It's the 1994 cartoon Gargoyles, which is still one of the best cartoons I think Disney's ever produced, simply because it does not talk down to its audience.
No, exactly. And keep in mind, this was the behavior of two people well into their 20s.
Yes.
So if it sounds like something 8-year-olds would do, no, we're old. Yeah, no. Last week for Saturday morning, I watched an episode of Quack Pack because DuckTales referenced it, and that talked down real bad.
Oh, did it?
That was not good. So no, Gargoyles was very different from the normal Saturday morning fare. So if you have Disney
when you look
Plus,
at it this way, well, that's the thing, though. If you look at it this way, we were 20s. We were in our 20s watching this show. There were children watching that show who we later met through fandom as they grew up. And the whole spectrum of age enjoyed that show. There was something there for everyone. And I'm going to actually compare it to Bugs Bunny right now, even though, they're very thematically and stylistically different shows. But Bugs Bunny, I loved when I was a child. And I love now that I'm an adult, because there is something for everyone in Bugs Bunny. It's not just wacky hijinks. It's actually quite clever, a lot of the references and such. And Mike and I and Kyle are all about references.
yes, to probably a bad extent.
Oh, we have a comment here from Sherry. I'll just put it up on the screen. I'm offended by your hatred of unicorns. I feel that I need to really categorize this. I don't hate unicorns, but you need to understand that the unicorn, very cleverly named Uni in the 1980s Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, sounded like a baby cow and had to say something every time a character spoke. Like every time, all the time. And at certain points, she even sounded slightly human. And she was used as a plot device so many times. Oh no, the unicorn's lost. Oh no, the unicorn's wounded. We have to heal her. Oh no, we have to leave the unicorn behind. No, I'm not going. I won't go. I'm just like, leave the unicorn behind. Do it. They actually haven't. Sorry,
was it actually sentient? Did it have lines, or did it just bleat?
It bleated, and it was not sentient. It was not a character in that sense. It was a sidekick.
Oof.
Yeah, and it just so basically it was a reactionary character, and thus hated by everyone that watched the show. But to those of you that like unicorns, let's just say that wasn't a real unicorn. How about that? That was a horse with a horn stuck on its head.
Was it worse than the dumb robot on G-Force that you made me watch?
Oh, so for that again, bad. yes, it bad. The Japanese animation series from the late 60s, Gatchaman, came over to, I was going to say Canada, but I mean North America in the 70s, and it was renamed Battle of the Planets. And because there were some violent scenes in the cartoon, they edited out a lot of the scenes and replaced it with the most ridiculously annoying robot named 7 Zark 7, who basically just, vamped for, 2 minutes at a time between stock footage of the group playing ping pong or playing in a band, which never happened in the original. And it was only meant as filler. So that robot is despised, even by those of us who were first introduced to Battle of the Planets in the English version. We were like, this show is so cool. Except for this robot. Yeah, exactly.
And this part. And that guy. Oh, Kyle's in the lobby.
Oh, and I've been ignoring him. And welcome back, Kyle.
Hey, I'm back.
We barely noticed you were gone.
I know, right? But I'm working now. No, everything completely froze up. I had to force quit my computer.
Oh, wow.
He's
Yeah,
either
I hear
trolling us or he's on mute.
Yeah. And also, if you'll notice, those of you that can see the video, Kyle routinely is the one that puts the most effort into absolutely everything. He's got a tropical beach background today. He's wearing his tropical beach shirt. He's got his comfy chair.
Well, I got my comfy chair.
I think you're Charlie from Charlie's Angels. I always pictured him as being like the guy on a comfy beach chair, actually like, Angels, no, go do this, go do that.
No, I'm too fat for Charlie. I'm more Bosley.
He doesn't know he's on mute.
No, I'm not. Am I?
He's not. No, I can hear
Well,
you.
Oh, I can't hear him at all.
Oh, Mike can't hear you at all.
Oh.
Okay, he's definitely doing that on purpose.
As Kyle engages in shenanigans.
As Mike
watch that.
As Rieger does.
Yes. So if at any point you can hear Kyle, Mike, please let us know.
Yeah, we'll do.
Okay, that's good to know. So Kyle, Mike and I were just
Maybe
talking about what our favorite cartoons were in the 80s. And we've also talked about gargoyles in the 90s. Growing up, what was your favorite cartoon?
Easily G.I. Joe.
Easily. Ahead of the pack.
Yeah.
How come?
But open up that. Okay. I don't know. I think it was probably trying to open the Google Docs, and I am having computer failures everywhere, and my video is lagging significantly again.
Oh dear.
And also, Mike can't still hear me. But I'm not sure why G.I. Joe really struck me so much. Probably because I had a bunch of the toys already by the time the series started. Mm-hmm. And I'd been reading the comic for quite a while. So basically seeing characters I already knew come to life and, sound completely wrong.
Because you'd already invented them in your mind. You had given them voices. Yeah. And yet that did not put you off the show.
Oh, no. No. It dragged me down, and I still watch it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Over and over.
I can actually tell our listeners that Kyle's text sound on his phone is the G.I. Joe commercial bumper. So do you have that handy for us to hear, Kyle?
Handy-ish. Let's find out. Settings. Riveting television.
Yeah. One of the interesting things about your G.I. Joe story, Kyle, is I think you're the first person I've ever heard of who had the toys before knowing what the source material was that it came from.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I possibly had the comic first, and then I'm sure. I think I might have probably read the cartoons or read the comic book first.
Oh, okay.
And then the toys.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
There we go. He's got it, ladies and gentlemen.
Mike didn't hear it, but
No, he didn't. This will be very interesting. I'll be your subtitler, apparently, for the foreseeable future. Oh, our friend John Crowdis has joined us. Hi, John. Good to see that you're on the feed. At this point, John, we're opening it up to people telling us what their favorite cartoon was in the 80s. So if you want to comment that. Mike, John has a question.
Shoot.
What drawing tool is Mike using?
This is my Apple Pencil.
It's the Apple Pencil.
And
is that an iPad Pro?
It is, yes.
And what program is that?
This is called Vectornator. I started using it about 2 hours ago. So I'm sort of muddling through the way things works. So you're going to have to bear with me when I open up menus and then stare at them silently and then close them.
And meanwhile, our assistant Vanna Burles is showcasing all the amazing tools because he uses the same ones. The iPad Pro with Apple Pencil.
But not
that
the same program.
Your question. But not the same program. No, Kyle uses Procreate. Is that true?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and Mike is experimenting with Vectornator at this time.
I am. I originally sketched out the figure in Procreate. Procreate is probably the most used sketching app on iOS. But I like to work in vectors, and so I switched
It may have actually already taken over
something a little more
Photoshop of just a
mathematical.
digital drawing tool.
See, that's always fascinating to me because everyone has such different techniques, different styles, and yet the apps come out so quickly. And as an artist, I imagine you spend a lot of time going, do I want to spend the time to learn another program just to see if it's any good, or do I just want to stick with what I've got? Mike and I have had this discussion before. I'm the type of person, even though I don't draw, I don't like to change anything. Once something works, I want to leave it alone and never change it. But Mike and Kyle are both very experimental.
Yeah, and the program I have been using, Graphic, hasn't been updated in the age of a very old dog. And so I'm trying this one out to see if I like it, because it updates at all. Like, it still gets support from its developer. And people seem to like it, so I wanted to see what it's about.
And for those of you watching at home, you can see that Mike is not drawing per se. He is using vectors. He is using vector tools and creating the shapes as vector lines. Mike, why do you create that way?
I like that it can zoom in pretty much indefinitely. Like, there's no pixels involved. I can make it as large as I want. And instead of drawing and erasing and redrawing and re-erasing, if I wanted to change stuff, all I have to do is click on its nodes. Find it.
Nodes.
Yeah. Click on its nodes and then just move stuff around this way. I don't have to erase or redraw the line. I just reconfigure at any point. I don't have to go back. I don't have to undo. I can grab anything and move it anywhere at any time. So it's a lot more flexible for me that way.
Yes.
But if you're used to drawing in pixels, it's a bit of a mental shift you have to do to realize it's not drawing with a pen anymore. You're shaping things.
Yes, you're creating shapes. Let's see. John Crowdis says, Super Friends was his favorite cartoon from the early 80s. Well, congratulations, John. Oh, there we go. Ta-ding! You've won a prize, because I was also wanting to say that that's one of my favorite cartoons from the 80s, the Super Friends. We're very, very happy with them. There we go. Of course, my first cartoon crush was Zan from Zan and Jaina.
I hadn't heard that.
Hadn't? Oh, well,
this is new information.
I'm proud to bring you new knowledge. That had a huge impact on me because they weren't just superheroes. And of course, when I was a kid, the idea of being able to be friends with them as opposed to watching them from afar was a huge impactful thing on me and my creative process. The idea of superheroes as friends. Like, just because Superman can fly and move the planet doesn't mean he doesn't have Jimmy Olsen, his best buddy, that kind of idea. Even Batman and Robin, who are, crime-fighting partners, are still friends, more than just colleagues. That was the thing that I really enjoyed. Let's see. And what does Sherry say? Scooby-Doo. Absolutely. Scooby-Doo is one of the most timeless cartoons because it keeps being remade for a different audience every decade or so. What do you guys think about Scooby-Doo?
I love Scooby-Doo.
I can't tell if Kyle's speaking or not.
Yeah,
he is.
I am. I told you, speaking. No, I'm speaking.
Super weird for me.
What do you like about Scooby-Doo?
It was my first real introduction to Scooby-Doo, I think, was 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, which, because I was always a bit of a horror kid, it had Vincent Price on it. That's the thing. Plus, it also had Scrappy-Doo, and I was probably one of the few people who didn't hate Scrappy-Doo. You didn't? No. Now that I'm older and I can go back and watch it now, I'm like, wow, that's an annoying as hell character. But,
But it didn't bother you when you were a kid?
No.
Okay. Mike, your comments on Scooby-Doo.
Never watched it. I mean, I've seen an episode here or there, but because I didn't watch cartoons as a kid, it passed me by.
Okay. And you've never gotten into it as an adult?
No.
I found it interesting that the show Supernatural actually had an episode completely devoted to Scooby-Doo, where the main characters are turned into cartoons and put in Scooby-Doo, because Scooby-Doo is kind of the quintessential kids who solve horrific mysteries. I'd be lying if I said that Scooby-Doo did not influence Twilight Detective Agency at all.
Did it?
Because it made being detectives interesting and fun.
I just assumed it was Fonzie and the Happy Days gang that affected you the most.
I did like Fonzie and the Happy Days gang. But they're archetypes. There's the cool kid, the nerd, the good kid, and then the one you're not really sure why he's there. So the goofy dog. Oh, Potsy. You mean Potsy.
No,
that's a Happy Days reference, kids.
I'm pretty sure the goofy dog was named Potsy.
No, Potsy was the goofy dog, though, in Happy Days.
But the actual goofy dog in the cartoon. Something else, and I can't remember.
Mr.
Giggles or something
like that. Oh, Mr. Cool.
Yeah, that was it.
Mr. Cool. Yeah, Happy Days actually had a spin-off cartoon where Fonzie and Ralph Malph but not Potsy, I don't think, and a talking dog were visited. Oh, and Richie visited by a girl from the future named Cupcake, who then took them on time jaunts, and they had to solve mysteries all throughout time, while their broken time machine couldn't quite get them home. So every episode, of course, they try to leap somewhere else and have to solve something else.
And hoping each time that the next leap will be the leap home.
Yes, indeed. And, you know, if the people that created Quantum Leap said to me, yeah, I was really inspired by that the Happy Days cartoon where they're time traveling, I actually wouldn't be surprised.
No.
Alrighty, let me see here.
And then Platoon was inspired by the Laverne and Shirley Go in the Army cartoon.
Oh my God, where Horseshack was a pig for some reason. That was amusing to me. Ron Palillo. I enjoyed that. Okay, how did cartoons influence your style and creativity? We've already talked a little bit about that. Let's start with Mike. What do you find creeps into your work, Mike, that is from cartoons?
Well, I see a lot of Bruce Timm in my work when I'm not paying attention. I don't mean to, but it gets in there.
Well, it was a very strong influence for you. I mean, that version of Batman is seminal. It's iconic. I don't think you can get away from it if you're a Batman fan.
I don't think you can. I mean, I don't really want to. I like that it's in there, but often around the faces, I can even in this one, I can see the Bruce Timm influence.
Yeah. Kyle's like, oh yeah.
Trying to figure out how to color in this app, and I can't.
I can't do it. All right. Boo-hoo.
Drag and drop. Drag and drop. Isn't that right? All things.
Let's switch over to Kyle for a second. Kyle, what creeps into your artistic influence that you know is from cartoons?
Technically it is cartoons, but not Saturday morning cartoons. And the majority of it comes from a lot of old heavy metal magazines, which I was introduced to by the heavy metal cartoon from 1980.
Yes.
Which was an actual theater movie, and so not for kids, as I went to it when I was 7, 8.
I watched it on a sleepover when I was 13, and I thought, I'm going to get in so much trouble for watching this movie.
My mom took me to the drive-in to see it.
You have the best mom. Kyle's mom, everybody. Kyle's mom.
She's up there. She's probably watching somewhere.
Okay. No, it does show. Like Kyle's been working on some of the chick tracts that Two Gargs is going to be putting out in the coming year, and there's a couple of scenes where I'm just overwhelmed. I'm like, this is straight out of heavy metal. It really creates that. Metal. Yeah. It just really felt like that for me. For me, again, I talked about Super Friends, the idea of friendship in cartoons. And of course, I've never seen My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, but I do love the title because to me, that rings true. I like to tell stories about friendship, about relationships, and the fact that they're superheroes or supernatural creatures is sort of the backdrop to that. There's a lot of talking in my books. I'm probably not surprised to hear that.
So many talking heads. Head. Blah, 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 blah. Head. Blah, 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 blah.
Later on, we'll discuss how there's an equal division of labor between the writer and the artist to make a comic interesting.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, you don't think that's true, do you? Okay, we have a theme for next time, ladies and gentlemen. In this corner, we have the writer weighing in at 250 pounds, and in this corner, the artist weighing in at 280 pounds of pure vector graphic power.
I'm not 280.
Okay, sorry, 290. My bad. I'm so sorry. Let's see. So I do have a question here. If you know any kids, do they seem to be as focused on cartoons as we were? Like, does it hold the same attraction for them?
I don't have
anybody. No, but
I
if you
don't know
know any,
I thought
you
you
don't know any kids. Yeah.
I don't have kids.
I have two boys who are now 17 and 15, but during their upbringing, I made sure to show them DVDs of everything I used to watch, and also to join them in watching what was modern, because I wanted to see if, we would have some common ground to speak on. And it turns out, yes, they really did like the cartoons. And we talk about the cartoons all the time. In fact, we're just planning a marathon rewatch of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is one of the greatest story arc cartoons I've ever seen. And yeah, so
wasn't in it always upset me, though.
Sorry, what?
The fact that Bender wasn't in it always bothered me.
Bender wasn't in Avatar?
The Last Airbender. Why was Bender not in the Bender show?
He gets me every time, ladies and gentlemen. I keep thinking it's a serious comment, and no, you fell for it, Michael. You fell for the Kyle once again.
Point.
I couldn't hear it, and I don't think I missed anything.
No.
Boop. There we go. And putting up the banner. Kyle ruins everything. Yeah, boop. There we go. Ooh. Okay. Question from the audience. The Great Gazoo from the Flintstones. Annoying or valid? And when are you guys going to sing Let the Sunshine In?
No one needs to hear us sing. That's not okay.
But Mike, you're a fan of the Great Gazoo.
I actually am a fan of the Great Gazoo.
Yes. Why?
I liked his outlook. I liked that he was smarter than everyone else and knew it. And everyone else sort of bumbled along. I mean, they succeeded mostly through ineptness, and the Great Gazoo was there to point that out. Pleased me on an internal level.
I see.
That's probably bad.
Well, maybe. But, the smart kids always wanted to have a smart kid character to relate to. One of the reasons why I actually didn't like the Flintstones growing up is because it felt like it was just dumb people doing dumb things.
Yes.
I was more interested in Wilma, who would beat the snot out of Fred on a routine basis. But even then I was like, yeah, but she's kind of mean. She has to be, but she is. And so I was like, I preferred the Jetsons just because there was more science fiction in it. Mm. Yes, indeedy. Let's see.
So start singing.
Oh, okay. Mother told me something a little kid should know. It's all about the devil, and I love to hate him so. There we go. The opening bar is from Let the Sunshine In, kids. I don't know the next bar. Let the sunshine in.
Lord.
Face it with a grin. Smilers never lose, and frowners never win. So let the sunshine in. Face it with a grin. Open up your heart and let the sun shine in. That's for you, Sherry. There you go. I apologize to absolutely everybody else.
I can't believe that song was about the devil.
Straight up. Oh, my God. I went through a whole period when I was 6 years old being terrified of the devil because of that song. Sorry, Kyle, what did you say?
It was the 60s.
Everything
was about the devil.
Everything was about the devil. That's true. The devil was very big in the 60s.
Yep.
Let's see.
He doesn't have a good age now, so he's not as popular nowadays.
It's because he's president of the United States. Hey-o!
Hey!
Wow. So do you guys have a favorite character, cartoon character? Ooh, it's a high thinking moment.
It is.
You guys think. I have several.
Okay.
I'll start with my first one, which was Zan from the Super Friends. The reason I liked Zan so much is because he was often inept, but he tried hard, and he was still considered to be a member of the group. As a young child, that told me I could be part of the group too, because, if Zan could be part of the group, they would definitely accept me hanging around too. And also, he was always cheerful. He was always friendly, and I really, really resonated with that.
Shape of bathwater.
Or Zan. Do you have? No.
Well, we'll go with Mike first because.
Okay, Mike, we'll go with you first.
Okay, good. Because I can't tell when Kyle's talking, so
Yeah.
I'm quieter because of it. I think my favorite cartoon character is probably Darkwing Duck.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to admit, knowing you for as many years as I have, I'm a little taken aback by that.
I have favorite
tell us.
characters in each show, but I think my favorite character standalone would be Darkwing.
How come?
I don't know. Something about his aesthetic, where he was trying to be all grim and scary and wasn't at all, resonates with me.
Well, this is kind of like Mike's actual life, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Physically speaking, Mike is an imposing specimen of German hugeness, but giggles like a tiny child when things amuse him. So I can actually see that aesthetic. Darkwing's line, "Let's get dangerous," and then nothing dangerous really ever happened because there were always springs and funny pops and explosions and sidekicks and an incredibly smart young niece. So yeah, I could totally see that. Kyle, which G.I. Joe character is your favorite?
Actually, I was thinking then it's my probably favorite cartoon character is probably Peace from the movie Wizards.
Oh, Peace.
Once
Peace
again,
means love.
not a Saturday morning cartoon, more of adult themed cartoon that I saw as a kid and baffled my brain.
Oh yeah, Wizards was not an easy read for younger kids by any stretch of the imagination. But I resonated with Peace as well. I liked his design.
Yeah, and that's mostly mine. It's almost all my favorite characters all based on the design of the character, how what they look like, and also and a lot of the villains. I always preferred the villains way over the actual heroes.
Mike, Kyle just said he always preferred villains over heroes. Your thoughts on that?
I agree. Villains are better.
See, I always like the heroes. I always like. Oh, check it out.
Original 1986. Yeah.
Is Serpentor from G.I. Joe?
Yes. He is the Cobra Emperor.
Oh, he's the Emperor. Oh, my goodness. And that's another thing. We should actually do a whole thing on just your house, Kyle. Just on like props and yeah, I know. It's like here I am with my one DVD, and Kyle's like, I am living in a cartoon and pop culture curio shop.
Greatest American Hero, the guidebook.
Aw, yeah.
Oh, Kyle, that's so good. So good.
Ooh.
Tells you how the suit works.
Well, but I lost it. Now I can't fly.
That's right. No flying for you. All right. So let's see. Years later, those of us who watched cartoons are now the ones making cartoons, and that has definitely brought about some changes. What are some of the differences you're noticing in general between the tunes of yesteryear and the tunes of today?
The tunes for today are made for adults mostly, because I don't think a lot of kids watch a lot of cartoons. So the adults who are now making the cartoons are making it for our generation who grew up on cartoons. Lots of old references, but much more mature themes.
And yet, I have a counterpoint to that. Kyle just said that cartoons today are mostly made for adults and have much more mature themes. My counterpoint to that is, of course, the travesty that is Thundercats Ho or Thundercats Go or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I would argue that is made for kids, for like straight up for children, because those of us who were fans of Thundercats in the 80s cannot seem to resonate with this new, very frenetic, very crazy, rapid, simple animation version of them.
Is it still on?
That's one that sticks out of my mind. I don't even know if it's still on.
I remember it. I remember your advertisements for it.
We can hope not.
For the record,
Oh, sorry, Kyle's talking.
Oh, sorry.
I've been watching She-Ra, which is very much a cartoon for kids, but it's got a lot of adult themes in it. Like every character is gay, every single one.
Well, that's the thing. You
accepted.
can watch She-Ra. Yeah. And you're not bored watching it as an adult. I enjoy She-Ra very much. And like it's perfectly acceptable for kids because it's a cartoon about acceptance and about creation of self. And I think it's got some great messaging in it. Kyle, what were you going to say?
I've forgotten.
That's the podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Did he say something horrible?
No, he said I've forgotten. No, Kyle, the question was, what is the difference between cartoons of yesterday versus cartoons of today? And then you said they're probably more mature. So which cartoons are you talking about?
Well, actually, I was just going to counterpoint the Thundercats Go is because the previous iteration of Thundercats was a much more mature, story-driven, arc-driven.
It was Thundercats 2011.
Higher quality animation, but it was still kid friendly, but it was still a lot more adult. Well, not chicken brown cow adult, but mature
same thing.
Circumstances.
Yes. So Thundercats 2011 was definitely pitched to a more adult audience, but still, being open to young people as well. Basically, it was an all ages thing. Same thing with the Green Lantern show. It had 2 seasons. It was amazing. It didn't talk down to anyone. Of course, Greg Weisman had some input into that show, but he was mostly working on Spectacular Spider-Man at the time. I know he was friends with the creator anyway. That may be the extent of his input. But what I loved about that Green Lantern is if you were a fan of the comics, you had all the content there. If you were brand new to the idea, the content was there. And if you were young, it was fun and funny in many, many parts. So let's wrap this up. What is your current favorite cartoon? Mike is your current favorite cartoon?
I was trying to tell me which one's talking because I can't hear him. You're going to get silences.
Yes, sorry. Mike, what is your current favorite cartoon?
Oh, what is my current favorite cartoon? I guess say Harley Quinn.
Absolutely.
Close between Harley Quinn and DuckTales, but I got to say Harley Quinn.
Oh, Harley Quinn is absolutely not for children.
That cartoon's not for kids
whatsoever.
Well, there is a version of it that's for kids. Isn't there?
Is there a version of it that's for kids?
There's a kiddie version of Harley Quinn.
Of what? Of Harley Quinn?
Harley.
No, that cartoon is not for kids.
No, but isn't there a Harley Quinn for kids? Another?
I'm familiar with it. I don't know.
I seems to me I saw a previous. I'm like, oh, and it was much more of the super chibi.
Kyle is
like the Teen Titans Go, but
right.
Easy.
Kyle believes there's like a Teen Titans Go-esque version of it, and it may be like a Gotham thing. Maybe it's not specifically Harley, but
yeah. There's a Justice League for kids right now, but
no, there was the all-girl.
Yes,
thing.
Yes, it had Supergirl and Batgirl, and it was chibi versions. Yes.
Yeah,
I think that's probably what I'm thinking of.
All right. I agree with Mike. Right now, Harley Quinn is just seizing my imagination because they're not holding back with anything, and yet they are referencing classic storylines at the same time, which I think is brilliant. And every time Ivy opens her mouth, I just howl because she's just not having any of Harley's craziness, right? She always has a very witty quip that kind of shuts the whole thing down. Kyle, what is your favorite commercial? Freudian slip. What's your Pop-Tarts. What's your favorite cartoon currently?
Actually, I'm probably have to agree that the Harley Quinn is probably one of the better shows on there. I'm still slightly pining for Futurama, but that's
because that's a classic go-to for you.
Yeah.
Oh, now Sherry has an amazing comment. She says, "I think Schoolhouse Rock has been overlooked. Educational cartoon glory with catchy ditties, total win." Sherry, I agree 100%. I know so much more about American history than I do about Canadian history because of Schoolhouse Rock. And even Kyle has been doing references to, it wasn't Schoolhouse Rock, but Time for Timer, the little character that tells you about nutrition and health.
And Wagon Wheels.
And Wagon Wheels. Those cartoons were instrumental, and I think that we are poorer for not having them. Imagine having your kids programmed into the TV, but then every so often, this educational musical blurb pops up that gets into your head and you can't stop. Like, I can't count by fives without counting in the musical form of that particular math cartoon. So final thoughts, gentlemen, on Saturday morning cartoons and cartoons in general. Mike, you first.
I'm for them.
I'm for them. I'm absolutely
was
for
that
them.
Not a yes or no question? I'm glad that nowadays you can just turn on your device and watch cartoons any old time you friggin' want to. But I still make time Saturday morning to watch Saturday morning cartoons over my Saturday morning cartoon breakfast.
Yes, which is what?
Oh, it's not cereal. I'm not an animal. I have sausage McMuffins, but the intent is still there.
I see.
I don't
Kyle,
graze like some sort of rodent.
I see. You've just dissed the cereal eating population. Yeah.
Cereal's
yeah.
gross.
No, you're gross. You're gross.
I need to pull this knife out of my back.
There.
And Kyle, your final thoughts on cartoon.
Oh,
there it is.
Oh.
I lived on Saturday morning cartoons. I said I don't drag myself in because I saw a lot of the later cartoons because I was never a morning person. Even as a kid, I missed a lot of cartoons on Saturday mornings because I just couldn't get my ass up.
Okay.
But, for that good hour or two when I did get up and before Stampede Wrestling started, I was down.
For those of you listening, Stampede Wrestling is a Calgary, Alberta classic. It was one of the ways you knew cartoons were over. And then the wrestling started, which may account for why at some conventions we go to, they actually have a whole bunch of wrestling stars coming in. Yeah. I think there's some cross-pollination there. We'll have to explore that at another time. For me, I hold church on Saturday mornings, and it is cartoons, and it's whatever I feel like that morning. And absolutely, cereal is necessary and required. And even though I have a little bit of the diabetes, if there's Fruit Loops in the house, I'ma eat them.
Those two thoughts might be related.
No, you know what's related? No, I'm not going there. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I thank our guests, Sherry and John, for their very insightful comments. You can follow us at twogargs.com. That's TWOGARGS.com. And of course, soon after this broadcast, we will have this up on audio on iTunes, and we will have it up on YouTube as well as a video.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Seriously, I never thought I'd be one of those people, but please, yes, like and subscribe. We would like to keep doing this. Please keep three fat white guys talking because it's so rare that it ever happens. Have a good day, everyone. Peace out.